My beloved child, what I have done within you is not a quiet period placed at the end of a season of weakness, nor is it a small favor for you to keep only for yourself and then shut the door on the world. The lifting up I have given you is a holy beginning, a gentle call drawing you out of old, worn paths so that you may step into a new land, where every thought is purified, every footstep is guided, and every deed becomes a holy fragrance before me. I have touched you not so that you would return to the habits that once drained you, nor so that you would sit still in fear that you might stumble again as before. I lift you up so that you may live more broadly, more brightly, more deeply, so that your life may become a lamp set on high, not boasting, not making noise, but quietly shining for those who are feeling their way through the darkness. Therefore, do not regard the renewal within you as something fragile that must be hidden away. What I am cultivating in you will grow when you know how to open your heart and allow grace to continue flowing through you each day. There are wounds that have closed, but I still want to teach you how to live as one who has been set free. There are chains that have fallen away, but I still want to lead you to learn how to walk with the strong feet of faith. There are nights you have passed through, but I still want to turn those very nights into a silent testimony that my hand has never left you. When you stand firm after the storm, you are not the only one who is comforted. Those who are still trembling in the tempest will also see in you a sign that dawn can still come, that my tender mercy can still make new all things that seem to have faded. Look at a young sprout after a season of drought. When the soil is cracked dry, the leaves have withered, and the branches seem to have no life left in them. People easily think it has reached its end, but if pure water is poured down, if a patient, caring hand does not give up, the roots quietly drink in life again. The trunk quietly begins to change. And one day, in a place that seemed barren, tender shoots appear. You are the same. There were times when you thought that all that remained within you was weariness, fragmentation, and emptiness. But I did not look at you with human eyes. I saw seasons of fruit that had not yet come, flowers that had not yet bloomed, seeds still lying deep beneath the soil of pain. I did not merely save you from withering. I want you to bring forth fragrance and beauty. I want the goodness from you to touch your household, your friends, the strangers who pass through your life, and even the hearts that once believed they had no hope left. For that reason, do not be afraid when I call you to become a source of blessing. You do not need to strain yourself to prove that you have changed, nor do you need to create an outward appearance of holiness for others to see. What I seek in you is a heart that abides in me, tender before my voice, faithful in small things, and humble amid great things. When you stay close to me, the light will naturally shine forth. When you allow short but trusting prayers to become the rhythm of your breathing throughout the day, peace will quietly seep into your voice, into the way you treat those who have saddened you, and into the choices you make when no one is watching. Then one day, you will realize that you no longer react as the old self once did. You know how to hold back when you would have become angry, how to forgive when you would have closed your heart, how to hope when circumstances have not yet changed. That is the fruit I am causing to grow within you. I want you to understand that a fruitful life is not a heavy yoke laid upon your shoulders. It is the natural flow of a heart watered by my love. Just as a clear stream does not need to command itself to flow, just as the fragrance of a flower does not need to struggle in order to spread, the one who abides in my grace will gradually become gentle without having to rehearse it. The more you allow me to fill the empty places once occupied by fear, the more you will be able to give encouragement without becoming depleted. The more you allow me to heal the memories that once made you shrink back, the more you will be able to embrace others with compassion. The abundance I give is not only found in what you receive, but also in your ability to become a clean vessel through which blessing can flow. Do you remember the story of Naaman? The powerful commander who carried within himself a disease that brought him pain and shame. He went searching for help with pride still filling his chest, imagining that the miracle would come in a radiant, a solemn way that suited his own expectations. But I led him to a very different path, a simple instruction, an ordinary river, an act of obedience that seemed far too small. When he humbled himself, stepped into those waters, and did what he had been told, cleansing came. The wonder was not only that his skin was renewed, but that his heart was also softened. Learn from that story. My child, sometimes I do not bring you into renewal through thunder that shakes the heavens, but through very quiet steps of obedience, not through what brings you applause, but through what teaches you to bow low, to trust, and to let me work in my own way. So when you see me inviting you to keep walking each day, do not view it as a harsh demand. It is love protecting the gift I have placed within you. A garden, once cleared, still needs tending. Good soil still needs clean water. Good seed still needs light. You, too, need to continue abiding in my presence, keeping your heart from the things that pull you back into old darkness, and nourishing your faith through closeness with me. You may have days of weakness, but weakness does not mean failure. When you know how to return to me, when you know how to place your hand back into mine, I will strengthen you with a gentle yet enduring strength. I do not despise your small steps. I rejoice when you choose to rise one more time. Then, from within you, many good things will be sown. A word spoken at the right time can rescue someone from despair. A silence filled with mercy can prevent a wound from spreading further. A small act of kindness can open a door you knew nothing about. Do not underestimate quiet things, for I often use small things to bring forth a great harvest. When you live in my light, you do not need to declare yourself as proof. Your life itself will speak. The peace in your eyes, the tenderness in the way you forgive, the perseverance you show in trials, the purity in your choices, all of these will become holy strokes of writing that I inscribe upon your life so that others may read my kindness there. My child, hold on to faith as one guards a flame through the long night. Do not let old memories tell you that you can only live as you once did. Do not let the voice of doubt convince you that this renewal will eventually fade away. What I have begun in you, I have the power to preserve, cultivate, and bring to completion in my appointed time. Your part is to walk with me, listen to me, choose what is good, and keep your heart always open before grace. I did not lift you up so that you would live a closed life in fear. I lifted you up so that you may become a garden with shade for the weary, a cool stream for the dry and thirsty, a gentle reminder that my love is still making all things new. Go, my child, not by your own strength, but by faith upheld by me, not to prove yourself, but to radiate the goodness I have placed within you. And as you continue to abide in me, fruit will come in its proper season. Peace will deepen day by day, and your life will become a living song of my restoring power. My beloved child, let your heart be still and listen to what I am tenderly placing within you in this moment. What I have drawn you out of no longer has the authority to name you, and where you were once covered by old shadows, I am now raising up a holy region of light, gentle yet full of authority. You were not brought out of chains only to wander alone among familiar threats. You were brought into shelter, placed beneath my compassionate arm, covered by a presence that ordinary eyes cannot fully see, but the heart knows very well. From now on, Do not think of your freedom as something fragile that can easily be stolen. When I opened the door for you to step out, I also placed behind you a door through which darkness may no longer enter at will. When I called you into the light, I did not only illuminate the path before you, I also guarded the dark places behind your back. There are things you must understand deeply. Deliverance is the beginning of a new journey, but preservation is the grace that helps you remain steadfast along that journey. One who is rescued from a rushing current still needs to be brought onto firm ground. One who is healed from a fever still needs care so that life may return in fullness. A child who has just escaped a fire cannot be left alone in the cold night, but must be carried into a peaceful home, where warmth, light, and loving arms help the trembling cease. You are the same. I have not only pulled you out of the lies that once exhausted you, I have also brought you into a new realm of life, where your thoughts are cleansed, your emotions are soothed, and your heart learns to rest in the safety that comes from me. Do not fear that old things will suddenly return and take hold of you as they once did, for I am teaching you to live beneath the holy covering I prepared for you long ago. That covering is not a cold wall, nor is it a prison that shuts you away from life. It is like a dome of light woven with mercy, a sacred space where the arrows of fear can no longer easily pierce through, where the voices that once confused you gradually lose their weight, where my peace becomes the gatekeeper of your heart. Perhaps in the days ahead, you will notice a quiet change. A word that once hurt you now passes by like a light breeze. A memory that once made you choke with tears no longer binds you to weeping. An encounter that once unsettled you no longer has the power to pull you out of rest. Do not despise these small signs, for that is how grace often works in silence. I often do not make a loud display to prove that I am there. I simply place within you a deep steadiness. And then you will know that my hand is preserving you. My child, not every battle requires you to rush in with your own strength. There are times when the holiest thing you can do is stand still in faith, not panicking, not hurrying, not reopening by your own will the doors I have helped you close. Old darkness may try to call you through familiar habits, through loneliness, through whispers that you have not truly changed. But remember, that voice is not mine. My voice does not drive you into despair, does not force you to live in fear, does not bring up the past in order to condemn you. My voice leads you back to peace, lifts you from shame, and reminds you that you now belong to the light. Therefore, when old things try to knock, do not open the door through curiosity or misplaced softness. Return to me with a simple prayer, with a breath of trust. With one small but decisive choice, you will not return to the place that once wounded you. I want you to learn how to cooperate with the protection I have placed around you. Protective grace does not mean that you live carelessly, nor does it mean that you expose your heart to everything and then expect not to be affected. A beautiful garden still needs a fence. A bright lamp still needs to be guarded from a violent wind. Clear water still needs to avoid sources that would make it murky. Guard what enters your ears, your eyes, your thoughts, and your relationships. Choose conversations that bring peace instead of pulling you into chaos. Stay close to those who help you remember what is good rather than those who cause you to forget the dignity I have placed within you. Step away from familiar paths that once weakened you, not with bitterness, but with wisdom. Not everyone is permitted to enter the sacred place I am building within you, and not everything that was once familiar deserves to remain in your new season. Do you remember the story of my people on the night they left Egypt? Behind them were the sounds of pursuing horses. Before them was the wide sea, with no visible path. And within them was the fear of those who had just escaped a heavy yoke but did not yet know what freedom would be like. Yet I did not leave them alone on that road. I placed the pillar of cloud and the pillar of fire to guide them, cover them, separate them from their pursuers, and open a path through the place where humans saw only despair. The miracle was not only that the sea was parted, but also that I stood between my people and the power that wanted to drag them back into slavery. You are the same. Perhaps you have just stepped out of an old realm and still hear the pursuing sound of familiar fears. But I am standing between you and the thing that wants to force you back. You do not need to keep turning your head to look behind you. Look instead toward the path I am opening before you. There will come a day when you realize that you have changed. Not because you have become hard and cold, but because you are tender and yet no longer easily swept away. Not because you remember nothing, but because what you remember no longer rules over you. Not because life no longer has trials, but because within you there is now a refuge that no one can steal. I am building within you a foundation of peace, stronger than emotion, deeper than circumstance, more enduring than the words of people. When you live under that covering, the things that once robbed you of sleep will no longer hold power over your nights. The words that once made you doubt yourself will no longer rewrite your identity. The shadows that once pulled you down will no longer find a dwelling place in your heart as before. My beloved child, do not let separation make you think that I have turned my face away from what is taking place inside your heart. When you are silent in the depth of night, when your sighs cannot become words, when your eyes are weary because you have cried too much, I am still there, closer than your very breath. I do not stand far off watching you endure alone, nor do I measure your pain with coldness. I know every unseen scratch, every emptiness you try to hide, every question you have not dared to speak because you fear becoming even more fragile. There were moments when you thought you had been left in a wide room where no one could hear the voice of your heart. But I heard. There were moments when you told yourself that your tears fell and vanished. But in my hand, not one of them is meaningless. I gather what you thought had scattered, hold the prayers you thought were too small, and use those very broken pieces to prepare within you a deeper strength, a more enduring faith, and a more expansive season of life. So do not be quick to call what is happening an ending. People often see a departure as a door slamming shut, but I see the path behind that door. You often ask why a once familiar bond had to change, why someone who was once close no longer walks beside you, why something you preserved with all sincerity could not remain as you hoped. I do not blame you for those questions, because love, when separated, often leaves behind a very deep silence. But I want to teach you to look beyond the pain before your eyes. There are departures that do not come to destroy you, but to free you from a limitation you had not yet recognized. There are empty spaces that are not meant to make you lonely, but to give me room to place something newer within you. There are seasons of separation that do not mean your worth has diminished, but that you are being led into a level of maturity that the old place can no longer contain. Remember, you are not only going through an outward loss, you are being shaped inwardly. This separation is revealing the places within you that need healing, the places where you place too much hope in people, the fears of abandonment still hidden deep inside, the desire for recognition that you had not yet named. I do not expose these things to shame you, but so that you may be free. When someone leaves, it is not only the distance between two people that changes. Sometimes you yourself are invited to return and meet yourself again in my light. You will learn that you are still whole, even when no one is holding your hand. You are still loved, even when you no longer hear familiar words. You still have value, even when a relationship no longer continues. My presence does not lessen because of anyone's absence. Therefore, do not let your heart remain trapped forever in the question of why. That question can help you be honest with your pain. But if you stay there too long, it will become a circle that keeps pulling you around the same place. I want you to learn a deeper question. What is this preparing you for? What open sky is this absence making room for? What is this pain doing within you that easy peace could never do when you change the way you look? You will begin to see that even separation can become an invitation. It invites you to draw nearer to me, not in theory, but in true surrender. It invites you to step out of quiet dependence and rediscover the strength to stand firm in grace. It invites you to look ahead, where promises not yet formed are waiting for the day they bloom beneath my light. Remember the story of Ruth. She passed through loss, left her homeland, left what was familiar, and followed Naomi on a road that offered no guarantee before her eyes. She did not know what lay ahead, did not know how the new land would receive her, nor how long the days of poverty would last. But in quiet faithfulness, in her small steps through the grain fields, I wove a story greater than she could imagine. Where she thought there was only gleaning leftover grain, I had prepared an encounter. Where she thought she was only a foreigner, I opened a home. Where she thought her life had been defined by loss, I placed her into a flow of blessing far beyond her own lifetime. Do you see? There are journeys that begin with tears but do not end in tears. There are departures that seem to make your life smaller, but in my hands, they become the path that leads you into a wider portion. My child, I am not saying that you must stop being sad immediately. I do not demand that you smile while your heart still aches. I do not tell you to forget as if everything had never mattered. I am your father, and I know that true love cannot be removed from the heart in a single morning or evening. But I want you to grieve in my arms, not in despair. Let the tears fall, but do not let the tears write a sentence over your future. Remember what is past, but do not let memory build a house in your heart and lock the door so that dawn cannot enter. Be honest with the emptiness, but also allow me to fill you with a gentle presence that no one can take away. My beloved child, quiet your heart in this moment, for what I am placing within you is not a passing comfort, but a deep confirmation of the new season opening before you. You have gone through days that seemed to hold only trial after trial. There were times when you wondered why hidden things had to be exposed, why old wounds had to be touched, why certain doors closed and left you confused, and why certain relationships had to change before you could fully understand their meaning. But my child, none of these things has been useless. I used every stage to prepare you, every silence to deepen your faith, every moment when you thought you were weak to teach you that true strength does not come from striving, but from knowing how to lean on me. What has been healed, what has been restored, what has been brought into the light, all of it was not so that you would stand forever in the old place looking back, but so that you would be steady enough to step into the broader road I have prepared for you. So do not call this time an ending. This is a threshold. This is where an old chapter closes, not in defeat, but in the completion of its purpose. Past seasons have taught you to discern what is light and what is darkness, what is my voice and what is noise that exhausts you, what nourishes you and what quietly drains the peace within your heart. You are no longer the person of yesterday, no longer the trembling child before every opposing wind, no longer forced to live beneath the shadow of fear or the judgment of people. I have loosened the bonds upon you, not so that you would take a few steps and then return to the old room, but so that you would learn to live as one who is truly free, free to love without losing yourself, free to forgive without returning to chains, free to hope without bowing your head before the threats of the past. Write this deep within the hidden place of your heart. Your future is not written by the hands of those who once wounded you, nor is it decided by the voices that once looked down on you. That future is not in the hands of the adversary, not locked by the doors people have closed before you, and not erased by the seasons in which you once stumbled. I am the one who placed breath within you, the one who saw you before the world knew your name. the one who understands the road you must walk, even when you have not yet recognized the next step. What I have ordained for you is not fragile like human promises. My plan is not shaken by jealousy, not ruined by schemes, not delayed simply because someone failed to recognize your value. When I desire to lift you up, no hand can keep you forever beneath. When I open a way for you, no wall is high enough to keep my light from passing through. Perhaps you have been hurt because someone closed a door before you. Perhaps you have fallen silent when an opportunity disappeared, when a promise from a person was not fulfilled, when the recognition you had waited for did not come. But I want you to look again with different eyes. Not every closed door is a loss. Many times it is protection. Not every delay means you have been forgotten. Many times it is arrangement. Not every rejection is a sign that you are unworthy. Many times it is the way I keep you from stepping into a place too small for what I am preparing. You see only one door before you, but I see the whole house. You see only one blocked path, but I see the valley, the mountain, the river, and the brighter road far ahead. Let me teach you to trust not only when everything opens easily, but also when I use what closes to lead you to the right place. Do you remember the story of Joseph? That young man received a dream from heaven, but the road leading to the promise did not pass through immediate days of glory. He was misunderstood, sold away, brought into a foreign place, and then continued to endure being forgotten even after he had lived uprightly. If seen through human eyes, perhaps everyone would have thought that dream had been buried beneath injustice. But I never lose what I have spoken over a life. Even the robe that was taken away could not take away the calling. Even the dark pit could not erase what I had planted. Even the prison could not confine the appointed time when I would lift a person up. When the right season came, the very roads that seemed lost became the steps that brought Joseph to the position I had prepared. Understand this: there are things others do to bring you down, but in my hands, they become the road that brings you to the place where you need to stand. Therefore, do not let your heart tremble before opposing words. People may misunderstand you, may judge you by a season they never walked through with you, may call you by a past that I have washed clean, but the final voice does not belong to them. I am the one who calls you by your true name. I call you loved, preserved, guided, prepared, and sent. When people try to make you small with criticism, I expand within you a dignity no one can steal. When they want you to doubt yourself, I remind you that you were not created to live by the approval of the crowd. When they build limits around you, I show you that my horizon is always wider than every boundary drawn by human hands. Yet, my beloved child, entering a new season does not mean you simply stand and wait for everything to fall into place. True freedom must be guarded with vigilance, and a promise must be received through daily steps of obedience. I have opened the way, but you must walk. I have shown the light, but you must choose to walk in the light. I have loosened the cords, but you must refuse to return to the places that once exhausted you. A new season requires a new heart, a new way of living, a new courage. Do not carry old thinking into a new future. Do not use yesterday's fear to measure tomorrow's promise. Do not shrink yourself simply because you have grown used to living in low, narrow rooms. I am calling you to stand upright, not in arrogance, but in the steady confidence of one who knows they are covered by my kindness. There will be days when you do not yet see the whole picture, but you can still trust that I am the one holding the brush. There will be roads you do not yet understand, but you can still walk because my hand is leading you. There will be moments when everything seems to move more slowly than you desire. But remember that a seed does not sprout simply because it is pressured. It sprouts in the right season. in prepared soil, beneath the right light. You are the same. I am not hurried with you as people are hurried. I do not overlook any detail in your journey. I am building within you an endurance strong enough to hold blessing, a humility sufficient to carry elevation, and a wisdom deep enough to pass through great doors without losing the purity of your heart. My child, hold tightly to hope, but do not hold it with the trembling hands of fear. Hold it with peace, because the one who promised you is faithful. I do not promise and then forget. I do not call you and then abandon you. I do not bring you through seasons of refining only for you to stop at the threshold. The things that have been opened within you will continue to be completed. The things that have been healed will become places from which strength arises. The things that have been restored will become the foundation for a fruitful season. And the things that once hurt you, when placed in my hands, will no longer be meaningless wounds, but signs that you were preserved through the fire and not consumed. So step into the future with bright eyes and a settled heart. Do not turn back to seek safety in familiar darkness, because that place no longer belongs to you. Do not let the echoes of the past pull you out of the invitation of the present. Do not let anyone convince you that the good portion I have prepared for you has come to an end. I am opening wider doors, not necessarily like what you once imagined, but deeper, truer, and more filled with grace. You will not need to prove yourself to those who do not see what I see. You only need to walk with me. Keep your heart clean. Be faithful in small things, courageous in great things, and tender before my leading. My beloved child, this is a turning point, but it is also an invitation. Leave the old shore of fear. Step across the threshold of faith, and let me lead you into the land I have prepared. What lies ahead has not been formed by chance, but by the loving hand that has followed you from the days when you did not yet understand yourself. I have continued writing your story with light, and no darkness has the authority to erase it. Lift up your head, for you do not step into the future as one who is lost, but as one who is guided. Be steadfast in heart, for what I have begun in you will not stop halfway. And when the new season blossoms, you will see that everything that is past, both tears and victories, both waiting and restoration, has been woven by me into the road that leads you to the radiant place my love ordained for you.